Absolutely, yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, we all ready? Okay. This morning I chaired a multi-agency meeting following this incident here at Didcot, where we discussed what the next steps would be in relation to the scene here behind, as you can see me, but also in relation to any future investigation. Firstly, before I go on to that, I would like to reiterate the thoughts that all the agencies involved in this operation have for the family. This is incredibly difficult times for them. They've suffered a tremendous loss, and it will take some time for them to be able to receive closure on this. And I would like to thank them for their sensitivity, understanding and patience with the traumatic events that have happened during the last week. We are moving into a new phase of the investigation. At this stage, the building behind you is still unsafe. We're still seeking specialist advice to try and understand when and how we will be able to get access to the trapped persons. This will be an incredibly complex and difficult engineering operation. At the same time, I'm also making provisions for police working alongside the health and safety executive to find the best way to recover those trapped persons. It will take many weeks, and in reality more likely many months, before we will be able to get access to those people that are trapped. The investigation regarding this is being undertaken by the Health and Safety Executive in conjunction with Thames Valley Police. This in itself is a complex process and will take some time. We will be reassessing the investigation at certain points to determine the next steps. What is incredibly important is that the family are kept up to date with the process of the investigation and the specialist techniques that we are using to try and get access to the persons that are trapped. I would like to again reiterate my thanks to all of the people involved in this investigation, to all of the emergency services, and most importantly, our thoughts are with families, friends and relatives of those persons that are trapped. Thank you. I will now pass you to my colleague from the Health and Safety Executive.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Baker. I'm the Health and Safety Executive's Chief Inspector of Construction. Firstly, on behalf of the Health and Safety Executive, can I pass on my sincere condolences to everyone affected by this tragedy. My thoughts, and certainly those of the HSE team involved in this incident, are certainly with the families and the friends of those who are missing and have lost their lives in this tragedy. From the first day, HSE has been working alongside colleagues from the police and emergency services, and we've been providing technical advice and support to the initial response and this recovery phase. The HSE has assembled a team of experienced specialists in demolition and construction, and they're going to remain on site to ensure that the health and safety risks from the next phase of the demolition at the power station are being effectively managed and controlled. We also need to look and understand what happened here, and given the sheer scale and complexity of what that involves, this may take some time. A joint investigation is now underway between HSE and Thames Valley Police under the Work-Related Deaths Protocol, and everyone is working very hard to identify the causes as quickly as possible, and also to see what lessons can be learned to make sure that we can avoid a tragedy such as this in future. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take some questions next.
How much of the rubble have you managed to move so far?
At the moment, what we're doing is we're seeking specialist advice from demolition experts and engineers to understand what is the safest way that we can get access. We've been assessing that at the moment. We'll be reviewing that continuously. Hopefully towards the end of next week we'll be clearer as to what that process will look like. But I do reiterate, it will take several months before we get access to those persons that are trapped.
So there's been nothing actually moved yet?
It's not been appropriate, nor has it been safe to do so at the moment.
The fire service obviously indicated last week that you're most likely going to have to knock down the rest of the building. How far along the road are you to a plan for having to do that, if that's the case?
Well, the plan in terms of that demolition is being worked through with the landowners and the persons that are responsible for that building, in conjunction with the Health and Safety Executive and the Police Investigation Team. Those discussions are ongoing at the moment, and like I say, it will be clearer later on next week as to what that process looks like.
Do you envisage having to knock the other half of the building down before you can carry on with the operation to try and recover the bodies?
That's far from ideal. I mean, clearly we need to take some guidance from experts involved in engineering of such difficult projects like that. That's clearly one option, but with regards to what is the most sensitive and appropriate way for us to do that, we'll need to make sure that we update the families as to what's going on. Clearly my desire is to get on with this as soon as possible, but we have to take advice from specialists.
Since Friday was the latest information we have. There's been absolutely no information as regards to the location of the 3 individuals at all.
Well, clearly we've been taking statements along with the health and safety executive from those people that were present on the site as to where they were, and trying to determine where is perhaps the most likely location of those individuals, and that will clearly be relevant for when we go through the process of dismantling that wreckage and being able to recover those persons and identify them.
But the drones and the robots have given you no clear indication?
Well, the purpose of the drones and the robots is to firstly assess whether it's safe to get access to that building, but also to take photographic evidence to inform the specialists so that they can give us an informed view of what actually the next steps in terms of recovering those persons.
How many specialist teams are on site? How many people are working on site?
I don't know exactly how many specialists, but we're using people from commercial companies as well as specialists from fire search and rescuers, and the health and safety executive, of course, are more familiar with this in terms of dealing with such incidents.
One more question.
Could you spell out just why it's not possible at this stage for crane to start extracting some of the debris here? Can you explain exactly what the issue is?
I haven't got specific details as why it's not appropriate for the crane to do that. The discussions regarding the process of getting access and starting to dismantle it are ongoing all of the time, and we're getting daily updates, but clearly it's a really complex operation. Fundamentally it's an issue of safety, and that's the advice that we've been given.
Assistant Chief Constable, what have the family said about that position? Because it's hugely difficult for them.
It's incredibly difficult, and my thoughts really do go out to the families. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in that situation. It's absolutely terrible. What we're doing through our family liaison officers is involving them step by step, advising them. You know from previous press releases and information that we've given you that the families have been down here and have been shown this tragic scene and explained to them what that process is. Our priority is as soon as possible, as soon as safely possible, to get access to that site.
Have you ever worked on a scene like this before?
I personally have never worked on a scene like this before. I've been in health and safety executive. I've got a lot of experience in relation to this. But this has been, this is a number of police agencies, fire agencies, and ambulance services have been involved. It's difficult, it's complex, but the main thing is that the families get the right outcome at the end of it. Thank you.